In 1985, a small group of young researchers at Harvard Medical School believed they had identified a genetic link to Alzheimer's disease. To continue their research, they needed funding, but the big foundations weren't interested. They turned to Extendicare for help, and the Extendicare Foundation was born.
I just was obsessed with solving the puzzle of Alzheimer's. And I was able to use that money to now start generating those first experiments, those first pieces of data that would either tell me, yes, you're on the right track with this new idea you have about the causes of Alzheimer's, or no, you're on the wrong track, try something else.
Dr. Tanzi was indeed on the right track, and each year the Extendicare Foundation raises an average of $200,000 to fund Alzheimer's research, caregiver education, and programs to improve the quality of life of older Americans and their families. While the size of its grants are dwarfed by the hundreds of millions of dollars awarded by giant foundations and the federal government, the Extendicare Foundation has earned a national reputation for innovative corporate philanthropy.
What I think makes this foundation so special is the fact that the money that is given out actually comes from the employees, the people who are in the field, in the long-term care facilities, and we really try to choose the highest quality applications that will make the impact that I think the employees would appreciate.
We have a pretty good idea now that our culprit, our villain, is A-beta 42. As HIV is to AIDS, A-beta 42 is to Alzheimer's disease. We're trying to determine every molecule, every gene, every pathway involved so that we can come at it with as many drugs as possible to cure the disease once and for all. We look the world over to hire the most talented individuals who have some new idea, we say a hypothesis, either about what causes the disease or about how to treat the disease. But with that having been done, I still need funding to allow them to pay for their salaries, their supplies, their equipment.
I'm very grateful to Extendicare and the people that donate the money. People have a perception that research scientists, especially ones in big institutions like Harvard, are fairly protected. Well, it isn't like that. You have to generate the money, you have to bring it in, and if your funding fails, you're out of a job.
This is where foundation money, something like Extendicare Foundation, can really fill in that gap and really makes a big impact from the fact that you can give a young researcher that first step. You know, where was Rudy Tanzi at that point when he was initially funded, and where is he now? So it was definitely a good investment at that time.
A $25,000 Extendicare Foundation grant enabled two researchers at the Medical College of Wisconsin to investigate the use of functional magnetic resonance imaging to identify early indicators of Alzheimer's disease.
We know that Alzheimer's disease really doesn't happen when a doctor makes a diagnosis. It's a molecular process that it's been ongoing for probably 10, 20 years. If we intervene therapeutically at the time of the diagnosis, I think it's too late.
So we wanted to use fMRI technology to identify those patients at high risk.
So that whatever intervention we may have, a vaccine, medication, we can actually give it to people before they actually have the diagnosis. And this is the sense of this work. You know, the seed money from the Extendicare was essential because it allowed us to get that basic, even though small amounts of data that could prove to the experts, to our colleagues really worldwide, that we are actually on the right track.
1 year later, the results of that pilot study, funded by the Extendicare Foundation, enabled the medical college to obtain a $1.8 million grant from the National Institute of Aging.
Ironically, throughout this time, my mother has developed Alzheimer's disease and died a year ago. My mother-in-law developed Alzheimer's disease and died 3-4 months ago.
Supporting Alzheimer's research continues to be the Foundation's primary goal. But fulfilling the Extendicare Foundation mission also means awarding numerous smaller grants.
I've been a nursing assistant for 16 years, and there's a lot of things that I didn't know about Parkinson's.
People with Parkinson's disease are not understood. Sometimes that person can be mistakenly identified as being stubborn or manipulative or attention-seeking, when really they're just having problems relating to their Parkinson's disease. And we were looking for an acronym that would help the staff in long-term care facilities really recognize what people with Parkinson's disease need. So that's kind of where the Tulips concept was born, and that program came from funding from the Extendicare Foundation and was used at Texas Terrace as a pilot site. The one-year pilot gave us a fabulous opportunity to really test out the concept and to gain some focus group knowledge and talking with the staff.
It's taught in nursing school, but it only touches upon Parkinson's disease. Whereas when you have specialized training, it brings out all the little do's and don'ts that it's important to know.
Then we went ahead and followed up with visual reminders, either outside a resident's door or placed on that resident's chart or on the care assignment sheet.
You can just recognize that that's a person with Parkinson's and you know the special needs that they have. You have to be very patient. I don't think this is a job that you need to have if you're not here to care for the residents. They're like my family.
When I first came here, you know, this is just a building. It was not, to me, friendly. And then they started this, aromatherapy. And I don't know, I guess I just started sleeping a little better and being a little more relaxed. I didn't feel so alienated from the world.
I think we live in a society where people are used to pills. You know, we take a pill for everything. And if somebody has a problem sleeping and they can use aromatherapy versus taking a sleeping pill every night, I would vote for the aromatherapy. It's definitely a challenge getting money for something that's new, something of this nature. So I think we were really lucky to have found Extendicare and that they were supportive and believed in what we were doing.
It shows that somebody else cares.
The impact the Extendicare Foundation has had, the contributions it has made toward unlocking the mysteries of Alzheimer's disease, and the thousands of lives that have been touched and made better by Foundation-funded quality of life and caregiver education programs is only part of the story. Each year, employees in Extendicare facilities throughout the country contribute their time and energy to raise money to fund the Foundation's work. For example, in Fairmont, West Virginia, population 20,000, Arbors of Fairmont raised nearly $25,000 over a 3-year period simply by selling hot dogs and ice cream.
Our sauce is homemade. Actually, Carolyn Wilshire, that's the activity assistant, she makes the sauce.
I'm known for something now. I guess it's hot dogs.
And it goes over very well with the staff because there's our lunch.
So you get something for it and they're giving the money to a good cause.
The residents are in line at 10 a.m. waiting. Hot dogs or ice cream, it doesn't matter. They are waiting. They know the day, they know the time.
Some residents only know me as ice cream girl, you know, and so that makes you feel good. You can do something once a week that they look forward to.
We do have family members that have families that have passed away. They still come in and get hot dogs on Hot Dog Day.
It's a good charity and it's also good hot dogs.
Our activity director's husband is the chief of police and he buys his staff hot dogs and ice cream on those days.
If I can get out here before lunchtime, they'll eat them before I can set them on the table.
So everybody's really all involved.
And, you know, each time it started out, you know, we made $100. So then the following week when we did it again, it's like, I want to do better than 100, so we'd hit 150. And then when you started getting close to the 200 mark, it's like, all right. And if you're doing something like that every week, that's going to add up.
And it's not hard, it's real easy. That'd be like having your own little lemonade stand.
I did not think it would be this successful at all. My goal was to raise $500 in 1 year. And it has just mushroomed.
It's not difficult to come up with things that you find that work.
Think of a craft to make and have the residents help make the craft, but anything, just be creative.
It gives me a chance to feel good about something that I can do, and as the other people too, they feel like they're giving their time and their effort to do something to a very worthwhile cause.
There are 20 million people worldwide with Alzheimer's disease. If I can advance the cure 12 months, that's probably 1 million people that will not die from the disease.
To the Extendicare Foundation grant recipients and employees of Texas Terrace who shared their stories with us, to the staff of Arbors of Fairmont and the thousands of other Extendicare employees who each year raise the funds that enable the Foundation's work to continue, and to Extendicare's vendors for their generous and continuing support, we thank you. Together, we can make a difference.